Married for 3 years, yet he has never touched her. He even scolded her for wasting carbon dioxide by living. But just as the girl turned to leave, the man grabbed her and held her. I love you. Her sister, who happened to see this scene, became furious and enraged. Because Jiang Ning is just his substitute. Just last night, Jiang Ning took her and her husband's place for their first visit. And that was the first time Jiang Ning saw the man she'd been married to in place of someone else for 3 years. Just returned to the country. Fu Beimore, drunk, was lying on the bed. Although Fu Beimore's appearance could be described as unparalleled, but Jiang Ning couldn't muster any interest. But remembering his kidnapped grandma, he compromised. He almost trembles, hesitantly reaching towards the man's body. His tense nerves mixed with the man's alcoholic breath made him tremble all over. At this moment, Fu Beimore suddenly woke up and grabbed him, demanding to know who he was. But coming down is just a fingertip lightly touching his thin lips. Baby, don't ask. Asking means I am your wife. Then she pressed tightly against his lips. Until the next morning. The bedsheets only left a patch of dried tomato juice. Fu Beimore was both angry and shocked. I didn't expect a woman who was bold enough to take advantage of me and then run away. To be so pure. At this moment, the little assistant rushed over, saying that the woman from last night was indeed your wife. Fu Beimore was stunned. Only then did he remember 3 years ago, when the old lady made the decision on her own. He married ENGSUB, the daughter of the Jiang family, for him. She was already married at the time, so not many people knew about it. Thinking of this, his eyes instantly turned cold. Then, out of shame and anger, he went to a villa. At the same time, inside the villa, ENGSUB looked at the hickeys on Jiang Ning's body. He was quite unhappy, because these should have belonged to him. It's a pity he's no longer a virgin. You better keep your mouth shut about last night. Fu Beimore is now the additional executive president. Your stand-in mission ends here. Now I'm going back to being Mrs. Fu. Upon hearing this, Jiang Ning suddenly understood. So that's the reason. As ENGSUB spoke, she reached out and wiped off the foundation on Jiang Ning's face. Soon, a clear scar emerged. At this moment, the servant hurried over, saying that young Master Fu had returned. ENGSUB glared at Jiang Ning with a warning look. Soon, the door was pushed open. A tall and slender figure walked in. Seeing this, ENGSUB immediately called out, "Husband," in a delicate voice. Then she threw herself into Fu Beimore's arms. But Fu Beimore grabbed her wrist. "Don't play these dirty tricks with me. If you want to die, I'll grant your wish right now." ENGSUB was so scared that her diaper was wet. She quickly explained that it was all the old lady's idea. Fu Beimore didn't speak, but the anger in his eyes didn't diminish at all. Jiang Ning looked at the man in front of him like a god of death, and was secretly surprised. If he knew that the woman who slept with him last night was him, then he would be finished. Thinking of this, he turned to leave, but was caught by the naturally sharp Fu Beimore. Jiang Ning's heart skipped a beat. Did this guy recognize me? The man stood in front of him, staring intently. His eyes were increasingly sharp, as if trying to see right through him. Jiang Ning was overwhelmed by his aura. His heart was pounding faster and faster. Realizing something was wrong, ENGSUB immediately stepped forward. He said he was just a new servant here. At the same time, Jiang Ning echoed Fu Beimore, staring at his face with the mark. He looked at it for a long time before he was relieved. The face I saw in the room last night was ENGSUB. But now ENGSUB is clearly in front of me. He would actually mistake a little maid. But after Fu Beimore went upstairs, ENGSUB glared fiercely at Jiang Ning again, angrily telling him to stay away from Fu Beimore in the future. Jiang Ning snorted disdainfully. "As long as you release my grandma, I can leave now." But ENGSUB refused, saying that your mission is not over yet. After that commotion, if Jiang Ning suddenly disappears now, then Fu Beimore will definitely be suspicious. Hearing this, Jiang Ning gave him a mocking look. ENGSUB looked at the face in front of her, growing increasingly resentful. Especially those crystal clear eyes. She couldn't wait to poke them out. "This face of mine cost me 5 million. A technologically crafted face. Who knew that after covering his birthmark, this ugly duckling would look exactly like him?" At this moment, he grew angrier and angrier. The more angry, the more he thought about it. But he still needed to use him. Then he instructed the butler to assign him the dirtiest and most tiring work. At night, Jiang Ning stared blankly at herself in the mirror. Actually, she doesn't look like this. She is also a daughter of the Jiang family. It's just that she was mistakenly switched at birth in a cliché. Later, the Jiang family found her back from the countryside. but they disliked the scar on her face. So they never officially recognized her. They treated her like a servant, making her work. ENGSUB, the second daughter, always bullied him. When he wanted to leave, ENGSUB stopped him. At that time, the Jiang family was marrying a wealthy family. Fu Beimuo was just an illegitimate son with nothing. ENGSUB was proud and didn't want to marry. So she kidnapped his grandma and forced him to be a substitute. Now Fu Beimuo has become the head of the wealthy family. ENGSUB wants to be a rich wife again. Thinking of Ji Jiangning, a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. He must rescue his grandmother as soon as possible. The next morning, Fu Beimuo was thinking about that girl's kiss. That kind of smooth, fragrant taste is sweeter than red wine. It was something he had never tasted before. And last night was the soundest sleep I'd had. This is the bed he slept in for 3 years. There's a faint fragrance on the bed, just like the scent on him. Could it be that I slept soundly because of his scent? To verify this, Fu Beimuo went downstairs to find that tender figure. At this moment, Jiangning was pruning flowers. Suddenly, a hand caressed his waist. Then it pressed tightly against him from behind. Jiangning's body suddenly stiffened. At the same time, a man's deep voice came, "ENGSUB, why do you smell so good? What perfume are you using?" Jiangning blushed and quickly explained, "Young master, I'm not your young mistress. You've mistaken me for someone else." Fu Beimuo then realized and quickly let go of her. At the same time, Jiangning's hand was unexpectedly pricked and bled. Fu Beimuo was a little dazed, because this was the second time he had mistaken someone. And looking at Jiangning's panicked appearance, he seems afraid of himself. He always lowers his head and doesn't dare to look him in the eye. Fu Beimuo wanted to see his injured hand, but Jiangning dodged away. And at this moment, their eyes met. I don't know what's going on. Fu Beimuo actually had an urge to get close to him. Jiangning quickly turned around and dodged away, simultaneously pulling out her injured hand. She put it in her mouth and lightly sucked the paper scraps. Fu Beimuo looked at her with some fascination, unable to resist the urge to get closer. Just then, ENGSUB happened to walk over. And upon seeing this scene, she scolded loudly, telling Jiangning to go and work quickly. Jiangning, relieved, hurried away. Then ENGSUB called, "Husband," in a strange way. While he was eating breakfast, Fu Beimuo gave him a very disgusted glance. Jiangning, who rushed to the kitchen to work, was still scared. Just that moment, she really thought he recognized her. When she brought the breakfast to the dining room, I overheard ENGSUB talking bad about him to Fu Beimuo, saying that he was just an ugly country bumpkin. Everyone else avoids him like the plague. Only she is kind-hearted. That's why she took him in as a servant. But Fu Beimuo never even glanced at her. Jiangning was worried about not being able to get a ride after school. Suddenly, a very impressive luxury car stopped in front of him. "Harley Quinn, bye, let me give you a ride." The boy in front of her is Jiangning's classmate, Fu Ju, who is also the school hunk. After Jiangning got in the car, he regretted it, because he discovered that the driver was actually Fu Beimuo. At the same time, Fu Ju introduced, "This is my uncle." Hearing this, Jiangning was even more shocked. She obviously didn't expect such a request. Fu Ju, completely unaware of anything amiss, was still talking grandly, introducing his classmate Jiangning to his uncle. "And she has been secretly in love with me for 2 years, and secretly wrote me love letters." At the same time, he took one out and began to read it seriously. "Dear young Master Fu, I really like you. I like your sexy, thin lips. I want to kiss you. I like your six-pack abs. I want to strip you naked." Jiang listening is dumbfounded, because he has never written a love letter. It must be a classmate playing a prank on him. At the same time, he subconsciously looked at the man in front. It just so happened that the man was also staring at him through the rearview mirror. This made Jiangning's heart beat faster. That look, it reminded him of the way he looked at him in the hotel that night. Exactly the same. After hearing the love letter, Fu Ju put his arm around Jiangning's shoulders with a smug look. "Since you like me so much, then be my girlfriend from now on." A harsh breaking sound suddenly rang out. Fu Beimuo signaled for his nephew to get out of the car. Fu Ju looked confused. "Uncle, I haven't arrived yet." However, Fu Beimuo was slightly displeased. "If your legs aren't broken, walk a bit." Fu Ju is still very afraid of this uncle. So, I got out of the car, completely confused. Only the two of them were left in the luxury car. And they didn't say a word to each other the whole time. Until a moment later, the luxury car stopped in front of the villa. Fu Beimuo yanked Jiangning out of the car, warning him not to provoke his nephew again. In the evening, Fu Beimuo started to have insomnia again, because the lingering scent on the bed was completely gone. So he called 110 and asked the young mistress to come upstairs. ENGSUB was surprised at first upon hearing the news. Then she was so happy she was about to fly. At the same time, she showed off and asked Jiang Ning to bathe her. After taking a bath, she didn't forget to spray some perfume. At this time, she was all ready. I couldn't wait to embrace that man. As soon as I entered the bedroom, ENGSUB threw herself into the man's arms. Darling, I'm here. However, Fu Beimo suddenly pushed her away, because the scent on his body was completely different from the one in bed before. ENGSUB suddenly shuddered, because Jiang Ning used to sleep in this bed. Looks like he wants to get rid of your scent. Fu Beimo roared and asked, "Isn't it you who sleeps in this bed?" ENGSUB hurriedly explained, saying she just sprayed some perfume to cover up the original smell. Fu Beimo told her to go take a shower immediately. "I want the original scent. Otherwise, you can forget about being a rich wife." ENGSUB came down the stairs and walked towards Jiang Ning with a gloomy face. She told him in displeasure to go upstairs and sleep with Fu Beimo. However, Jiang Ning refused directly. ENGSUB's eyes were filled with extreme anger. He thought he wanted him to go, but what Fu Beimo wanted was the scent on Jiang Ning. If he didn't go, the truth would be discovered. Thinking of this, he immediately took out his phone and showed it to Jiang Ning. In the picture, Grandma was lying on the hospital bed, calling out Ning Ning repeatedly. Zhong Ning's eyes instantly welled up with tears at the sight. He had no choice but to go. At this time, ENGSUB said that she could only let him sleep over, and he had to be out before 6 a.m. Hurry up and put on makeup to cover the scar on your face. Cover up your ugly face. It will definitely scare my husband. ENGSUB sat in front of the mirror without putting on makeup. Instead, she wiped off the scar on her face. Quickly, his cold and aloof face was revealed. Lying in bed, Fu Beimo was feeling annoyed and upset. Soon, Jiang Ning walked in. He thought that after that night, there would be no further interaction with him. But now he has to impersonate ENGSUB to sleep with him. In bed, Jiang Ning was only 8 feet away from Fu Beimo, and this seriously displeased Fu Beimo. He immediately scolded him to come over and sleep. Although Jiang Ning was very unwilling, he could only obey him now. But as soon as he moved a little, the man grabbed his wrist in the next second, and then suddenly stuffed it into his arms. Fu Beimo deeply smelled the fragrance on him. The scent made him lose himself. So he asked Jiang Ning what perfume she used. But Jiang Ning said she didn't use perfume. Hearing this, Fu Beimo looked at her intently. "Are you saying you naturally have a fragrance?" Jiang Ning blushed a little from his teasing. "Young master, that's not what I meant." But as soon as she said it, she realized she had said the wrong thing. And the other party was also keenly aware of this. Because, normally, only that little maid would call him that. Looking at Fu Beimo's questioning eyes, Jiang Yin quickly explained, "It's just my first time sleeping with you. I'm too nervous." The corners of Fu Beimo's lips curled up slightly. "Weren't you bold enough to come close to me that night? So what should you call me now? Say it for me to hear." Jiang Ning wanted to escape, but was held tightly in his arms. She could only quickly call him husband, and then hid in the man's arms. Start pretending to sleep. That hubby made Fu Beimo's whole body tingle. But he still restrained himself and went to sleep obediently. The next morning, Jiang Ning groggily, blurredly opened his eyes and looked at the time. It was already 6 o'clock. If he's late, ENGSUB will definitely not let him off. Noticing something was off, Fu Beimo tightened her grip on that soft suburb, indicating she wanted him to stay a little longer. But Jiang Ning didn't dare linger any longer. He just said he had to do some chores. Fu Beimo squinted, somewhat puzzled. Aren't there enough servants at home? Why would the young mistress have to do it herself? Jiang Ning rushed out of the bedroom in 6th gear. Changing clothes and touching up makeup was done in one go. By the time she came out, as expected, ENGSUB was already blocking the door. He hadn't slept all night last night. Just thinking about Jiang Ning lying in Fu Beimo's arms made him extremely mad. And the most important thing now is, just ask what perfume Jiang Ning uses. Then he'll be in that position in the future. Although Jiang Ning doesn't know why they all ask this, she still took it out. But it was just an empty bottle. However, when ENGSUB saw the perfume, her pupils constricted, because that turned out to be a limited edition of a top international perfume. Which means if he wants to get into Fu Beiming's bed, he has to buy this perfume. Thinking of this, ENGSUB's anger flared up. He raised his hand to slap him, but Jiang Ning grabbed his wrist. "Want to buy it yourself?" ENGSUB's face turned ashen. This perfume is something money can't buy. Just then, he caught sight of Fu Beimo walking out. So, he suddenly had an idea. Before Jiang Ning could react, he pretended to fall to the ground. At the same time, he shouted loudly, "Jiang Ning, why did you push me?" By the time Jiang Ning looked up, right into Fu Beimo's cold eyes, the man didn't waste words. He only said one word, apologize. Jiang Ning stated categorically that he was faking it. I didn't push him, so naturally I won't apologize. Upon hearing this, Jiang Zhu immediately defended him. Fu Beimo's patience also ran out. He angrily told Jiang Ning to apologize immediately. Jiang Ning bit her lip tightly. For a moment, she actually had a glimmer of expectation. She was just a stand-in to sleep with. As soon as dawn breaks, she will be exposed. At this moment, Jiang Zhu showed a smug smile on her face. However, the next moment, Jiang Ningjing pushed him to the ground with a cry. I'm sorry, young madam. I pushed you this time. Then I turned and left. Fu Beimo obviously didn't expect this outcome. He wanted to say something, but he was met with Jiang Ning's stubborn face. At this moment, Jiang Zhu got up and started yelling, calling for her husband to avenge her. However, Fu Beimo looked disgusted. How could he not see through such clumsy acting? The reason he's still protecting you is because I was very satisfied with your performance last night. Continue tonight. Jiang Zhu looked at Fu Beimo's figure, her heart extremely twisted, thinking, that little bitch. She stole Fu Beimo's heart at once. If he's exposed, then I won't be able to keep my position as his second wife. Thinking of this, he immediately took out his phone and called his mother, asking her to get that perfume at all costs. His mother said she had already asked Sun Shao to buy it. In return, they planned to send Jiang Ning as a gift. Jiang Zhu was overjoyed when she heard this. In the afternoon, Jiang Ning received a call from his mother. She told him to go to the Lido Hotel to discuss his grandmother's matter. Jiang Ning agreed without hesitation. Then, the corner of his lips slightly curved. At the same time, he sent a text message to Jiang Zhu. Soon after, Jiang Ning took a taxi to the hotel. Just by chance, Fu Beimo, who was sitting in the car, saw it. Jiang Ning went upstairs straight to the designated room, completely unaware of the man following behind. Jiang Ning had just entered, and another man went in right after her. And this man is young Master Sun, who is said to have special fetishes. He's already played several wives to death. The little assistant thinks his president feels very sorry for this little maid, so he asks if he should throw Sun Shao out. Fu Beimo had a look of disgust on his face. He can't control things done willingly. Inside the room, Jiang Ning heard footsteps approaching. She turned her head and saw Sun Shao with a lewd expression. He couldn't wait to pounce on me. But Jiang Ning dodged him. At the same time, he revealed half of his scarred face. Young Master Sun was so scared that he peed his pants. Is this ugly monster what the Jiang family sent me? Jiang Ning said. His sister is the #1 beauty in the capital. He is the gift for young Master Sun. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Zhu pushed the door open and entered. At the same time, she was grumbling and ready to lecture Jiang Ning. But the next moment, she was pinned to the corner by young Master Sun. Little beauty, you finally arrived. Jiang Zhu tried her best to break free, shouting that Jiang Ning was the real gift for him. Hearing this, Jiang Ning immediately spoke out angrily. Do you mean Jiang? Is Jia going to give this ugly woman to young Master Sun? What do you take young Master Sun for? And this assist made young Master Sun even more excited. He pounced on her like a hungry dog eating shit. Jiang Ning retreated from the room with a grim face, leaving Jiang Zhu's heart-wrenching cries behind. But as soon as he went out, his phone rang. It's Fu Ju calling. He's called several times today. Jiang Ning didn't answer. He doesn't want to have anything to do with this pair. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly saw Fu Ju's familiar figure. So Jiang Ning casually pushed open the door next to him. I hid inside. At the same time, Fu Ju's voice calling uncle rang out at the door. Jiang Ning gasped. Could this be Fu Beimo's room? At this moment, the door to the next room was opened. Jiang Ning, fearing discovery, dove headfirst under the covers. The next moment, Fu Beimo's deep voice sounded, Fu Ju. What are you shouting for? Jiang Ning in the quilt. Judging by the voice, it must be Fu Beimo. So he hid in Fu Beimo's bed, to avoid Fu Ju edging. At this time, Fu Ju also walked in. He heard that his uncle had secretly married 3 years ago. He clamored to see this aunt. He wants to take a good look. I wonder what the woman who seduced my uncle looks like. Fu Beimo said expressionlessly, asking him to come to dinner in a couple of days. As soon as I sat on the bed, I suddenly realized someone was in the blanket. I lifted it up, and it turned out to be the little maid Jiang Ning. Fu Beimo's face instantly turned extremely gloomy. That ugly woman is simply courting death. Fu Ju asked his uncle if he had seen Jiang Ning. He knew he was at the hotel today, but he couldn't reach him. At this moment, Jiang Ning's heart was in his throat. He looked at Fu Beimo with pleading eyes. Fu Beimo reached out to drag him out. but Jiang Ning grabbed his leg. Fu Beimo was immediately shocked. A flush even rose on her face, and a strange fire inexplicably arose in her whole body. But Jiang Ning was so nervous that she didn't dare breathe loudly. Seeing that his little uncle didn't speak, Fu Ju asked again if he had seen Jiang Ning, that Harley Quinn. Fu Beimo took a deep breath and pulled the quilt in his hand to indicate that he had not seen her. After Fu Ju left the room, Fu Beimo tore the quilt open and angrily told him to let go. Jiang Ning wanted to get up and say something, but unexpectedly, a strand of her hair got caught on Fu Beimo's button, so she was suddenly pulled back. This little posture made both of their hearts beat faster. Realizing what happened, Fu Beimo was both ashamed and angry, thinking that the other person was deliberately seducing him. Jiang Ning quickly explained, and then fumbled to fix his own hair. However, after groping on the man's abdomen for a long time, he couldn't find where his hair was stuck. This behavior made Fu Beimo even more angry. Gritting his teeth, he wished he could strangle Jiang Ning. Then he roughly tore his hair off. At the same time, a roar rang out. "Get out of my bed right now." Knowing he was in the wrong, Jiang Ning hurriedly explained. He really didn't know this was the young master's room, and it was because he listened to him. He hid in here to get away from his nephew. Speaking of which, Fu Beimo interrupted him directly. "I told you to stay away from my nephew, but I didn't ask you to come and seduce me." Jiang Ning immediately denied it. Fu Beimo sneered. "You were just going to a hotel with young master son, weren't you?" Poor Luo Jiang Ning was stunned for a moment. He obviously didn't expect that he would see him and young master son. Just as he was about to explain, he saw Fu Beimo's grip tighten even more. "You're sleeping with other men while leading on my nephew, and now you're trying to seduce me. Don't you know the meaning of shame?" At this moment, Jiang Ning suddenly sneered. "Why are you so angry? Could it be that I've seduced you?" Hearing this, Fu Beimo almost snapped. He grabbed Jiang Ning's neck forcefully. At this moment, he seemed to have lost his mind, and was about to strangle him. The feeling of suffocation grew stronger. If he didn't break free, he might really be killed by him. A strong desire to survive arose. So, in Fu Beimo's horrified gaze, he suddenly pressed his lips against his. In an instant, Fu Beimo felt a jolt of electricity run through his body. He involuntarily let go of his hand. The next second, Jiang Ning took the opportunity to push him away violently. Fu Beimo looked incredulous. Just that moment, he actually thought this little maid was the girl from that night. The thought disgusted the Yu family. The woman he likes can only be a beautiful woman. Tell Jiang Ning to get out immediately. Jiang Ning just snorted at this, then turned and left. She went to the restroom and washed her face. It's a lie to say I'm not upset, but it doesn't matter. After Grandma is rescued, he will completely disappear from her sight. When Jiang Ning came out of the hotel, she ran into Fu Ju, who was waiting for her at the door. Jiang Ning was speechless, so she hid for nothing. Fu Ju immediately stepped forward, expressing she wants to go on a date with him. Jiang Ning explains that I didn't write yesterday's love letter. I don't like you, and I won't be your girlfriend. At this moment, Fu Ju suddenly exclaims, because he noticed that the scar on Jiang Ning's face is gone. Fu Ju is incredulously excited. She's obviously so beautiful. Why is she disguising herself? Just then, Fu Beimo walked out of the hotel. Seeing him, Fu Ju shouted loudly, "Uncle, take a look at Jiang Ning's face." Jiang Ning thought, oh no. She quickly hid behind Fu Ju and begged him, "Don't reveal that I'm disguised as ugly." Facing Fu Ju's confusion, but Jiang Ning seemed unusually nervous. She asked him again to keep it a secret. Fu Ju said no problem, but on the condition that Jiang Ning be his girlfriend. Hearing this, Jiang Ning refused decisively. However, Fu Ju was persistent, asking Jiang Ning to give him a chance to be his girlfriend for a month. If she still doesn't like him after January, then he won't bother Jiang Ning anymore. Seeing Jiang Beimo getting closer, Jiang Ning had no choice but to agree for the time being. Then she started touching up her makeup at lightning speed. At the same time, Fu Beimo's voice sounded. "What happened to Jiang Ning's face?" Fu Ju said he wanted me to show you his face. It seems even uglier today than yesterday. During their conversation, Jiang Ning also finished her makeup. Fu Ju pulled her to his side, bragging to his uncle that Harley Quinn was now his girlfriend. Palof's eyes instantly turned cold. His sharp gaze seemed to pierce through Jiang Ning. It wasn't until the assistant came over and whispered something that he turned and left. Fu Ju is in a very good mood now. He keeps clamoring to take Jiang Ning on a date, but Jiang Ning naturally won't agree. Without looking back, she turned and left. He hadn't walked far when Mom called. She roared at him to come home immediately. When Jiang Ning got home, He saw Jiangsu crying and complaining to their mother. He must have deliberately lured me to the hotel to let young Master Sun humiliate me. Bai Lan angrily slapped Jiang Ning's face. How could you be so vicious? Do you know how much of a pervert Sun Xiao is? Jiang Ning fearlessly grabbed her wrist. So Mom also knows what kind of person Sun Xiao is. I thought Mom didn't know. At this moment, Jiang Weifeng also walked over with a gloomy face. Originally, Sun Xiao had already helped them deliver the bid to CC Group, but Jiangsu smashed his head. No one would be willing to help again. While saying that, he glared at Jiangsu. Jiangsu looked aggrieved, indicating that she was the victim. It's all Jiang Ning's fault. Jiang Weifeng scolded Jiang Ning for being a wild child from the countryside. Do you know how important is young Master Sun and Sisi to our Jiang family? Jiang Ning then smiled coldly. I never thought that as parents, they could sell their own daughter for profit. Poor Luo Bai Lan roared. You are a daughter of the Jiang family. You should do your part for the Jiang family. Jiang Ning felt disgusted by their behavior. Aren't Jiang Chenro and Jiangsu also your daughters? Why not let them help? Hearing this, Bai Lan became even more furious. Zuzu is the #1 beauty in Beijing. And she's married to Fu Beimo. And Qian Ru is the future hope of the Jiang family. She's currently studying abroad. How could they help? Jiang Zhangxue also spoke with a resentful expression. With a face like yours, if Sun Xiao took a fancy to you, you'd be fortunate beyond belief. Don't be ungrateful. Jiang Ning remained calm throughout. I wanted to contribute to the Jiang family, but unfortunately, I'm a despised country bumpkin. Naturally, I can't help you. With that, he left without looking back. After coming out, he took out his phone and sent a message. Return all the zombie head standard files. The other party replied in the next second, yes, boss. And tonight is destined to be a sleepless night for the Jiang family. At the same time, Jiang Weifeng received shocking news. Their bid documents were all returned. The three people sat on the sofa with different expressions. Jiang Weifeng suddenly asked Jiangsu, how's your progress with Fu Beimo? Jiangsu hesitantly said it wasn't going well. Jiang Weifeng slammed his fist on the table. Useless trash. If Fu Beimo is willing to make our relationship public, why would he have to swallow his pride everywhere? I can give you some more time. But don't forget how this marriage came about. Speaking of which, Jiangsu broke into a cold sweat. Her family's status is simply not high enough to reach the top tier like the wealthy. All of this is because of that jade pendant. But that jade pendant, actually, she took it from his room in Jiangning. So she needs to secure her position as a wealthy wife before everything is exposed. That night, Jiangning was about to go to bed when Jiangsu suddenly said with displeasure that he should continue to accompany Father Beimo tonight. Faced with this behavior again and again, Jiangning naturally refused. But every time it comes to this, the other party threatens him with his grandma. Zhongning's eyes flickered. He had no choice but to agree. At the same time, he didn't forget to mock Jiangsu. Your husband's embrace is so warm. Then I'll go and feel it for you again. Hearing this, Jiangsu was so angry she wanted to grind her teeth to pieces. From beginning to end, she hasn't slept in Fu Beimo's arms. At the same time, Fu Beimo is washing away the scenes from the day that keep swirling in his mind. That ugly woman actually ignored his warning and still went to provoke his nephew. Will she use the same tricks she used to seduce him on Fuju again? By the time he came out, Jiang Ning was already in bed, asleep. Fu Beimo reached out and held him in his arms. Awakened, Jiang Ning opened his eyes groggily and glanced at him. Fu Beimo, on the other hand, had a thoughtful expression. Actually, Fuzu made him feel disgusted. If it weren't for needing his scent to fall asleep, he divorced her a long time ago. Little did he know, the woman in front of him was actually Jiang Ning, the maid. Jiang Ning gently said it was late, and he should go to bed early. But he said he didn't want to sleep yet. Jiang Ning felt uneasy. At the same time, Fu Beiming's hand. She's already started smearing it on his red lips. The next moment, she leaned down and nibbled on his tempting thin lips. Jiang Ning's mind went blank. He wanted to push her away, but Fu Beimo kissed him even more frantically. Jiang Ning pushed her away with force and shouted, "Let go." Fu Beimo, who was forcibly pulled away, had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth and looked at the other person with a gloomy expression. Jiang Ning didn't dare to look him in the eye and had to cover his lower abdomen, pretending that his period had come. Fu Beimo looked at him with suspicion, but then he saw Jiang Ning's sincere expression. That's when I believed what he said. His large hand landed on my soft abdomen, gently kneading. My period shouldn't affect kissing, right? He chopped down again. That sweet, tingling taste made him lose himself. I don't know how long it went on. Jiang Ning was like a startled deer, grabbing the other's collar. Unbeknownst to him, this expression is about to steal Fu Beimo's soul. Coming out, Fu Beimo just stares straight at him. Jiang Ning is a little at a loss for words for a moment, and can only look away. Seeing this, the man slightly curved his lips. I couldn't resist kissing him again, and this time it became much gentler. Time passed by, second by second. In the silent room, only their hurried breathing could be heard. I don't know how long it took before Fu Beimo carefully separated from him. At this moment, Jiang Ning was dazed by him. I don't have any strength left. Fu Beimo tried his best to restrain his desires. He held Jiang Ning and slowly fell asleep. The next morning, Jiang Ning was cleaning. Jiangsu ran over and asked if her husband was awake. Jiang Ning said no. Also, I told Fu Beimo yesterday that I had my period. Remember not to give it away. Jiangsu immediately cursed him as a little bitch. She thought Jiang Ning must have deliberately seduced Fu Beimo. That's why he wanted to touch him. Jiang Ning didn't expect there to be such a stupid woman in the world. She immediately retorted, so, why would you call a bitch? And put you in your husband's bed? Jiangsu gritted her teeth in anger. She's never a match for Jiang Ning. But soon she had an idea. She told Jiang Ning to go to the master bedroom in 5 minutes to collect Fu Beimo's clothes from yesterday. But her eyes were full of calculation. When Jiangsu went upstairs, I found Fu Beimo still asleep. He was beside himself with excitement, thinking his chance had finally come. So he personally laid down next to Fu Beimo. But then Fu Beimo suddenly opened his eyes. What are you doing? Jiangsu forced a smile. Of course, I'm here to sleep with my husband. But what she got in return was Fu Beimo's scolding. You're not allowed in my bed during the day. Jiangsu was trembling with fear. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside the door. Then, in a coquettish manner, she suddenly threw herself into Fu Beimo's arms. Husband, you're so bad. I'm having my period. Fu Beimo, baffled, was about to lose his temper. Then I saw Jiang Ningjing walk in. Jiang Ning was also stunned by the scene before her. Then she heard Fu Beimo's extremely cold voice, entering the host's room without permission. Get out. At the same time, he roared at Jiangsu, you get out too. If there's a next time, you won't need your hands anymore. After going downstairs, Jiangsu said to Jiang Ning again with a sneer. Now you should face reality, right? Do you know why my husband is so angry? Because you interrupted our fun just now. Knowing she was being schemed against, Jiang Ning wouldn't tolerate it. I seem to have heard your husband telling you to get out too. Just as Jiangsu was about to continue to rant, suddenly a voice came, Uncle, are you up yet? It was Fu Ju. Jiangsu saw him and greeted him with a smile. Fu, young master. What are you doing here? Fu Ju's eyes lit up. Little clown girl. What are you doing here? Where's the scar on your face? Why aren't you dressed ugly today? Fu Beimo, who was coming downstairs, overheard this. What, play ugly? Jiang Ning's heart skipped a beat. She thought, this is it. Fu Ju was also a little confused for a moment. According to, how does this little aunt look exactly like Jiang Ning? At this time, Fu Beimo also noticed the abnormality. His deep eyes stared straight at Jiang Ning. He then ordered Jiang Ning to step forward. Jiang Ning's heart pounded in his chest. Could this be the day I'm exposed? Fu Beimo looked at his face for a long time. Then he grabbed Jiang Ning's wrist. At the same time, he covered half of his scarred face. In an instant, Fu Beimo's pupils contracted. Tell me, why does your face look exactly like Jiangsu's? The three people present were extremely nervous. Jiangsu immediately said that Jiang Ning had plastic surgery to look like him. The scar on his face was left by the failed surgery. Faced with Fu Beimo's skepticism, Jiang Ning could only brace himself. However, Fu Beimo asked a question that made his heart pound. Then have you ever lied to me? Like covering this scar and impersonating Jiangsu. Jiang Ning tried to calm herself down. How could that be? Even if I cover this scar, master, as your bedfellow, you would definitely notice it. Fu Beimo thought about it and realized she was right. Am I just being paranoid? Then he turned around and left without looking back. The next moment, the three of them breathed a sigh of relief. We were almost found out by Fu Beimo. At this moment, Fu Ju looked at Jiang Ning. Why are you working as a maid for my uncle? Why don't you become my personal maid? I'll double your salary. Before Jiang Ning could speak, Jiangsu interrupted her, young Master Fu. How could you like a plastic surgery case like Jiang Ning? As soon as she finished, Fu Ju glared at her and said, just because I call you aunt, do you really think you're someone important? I think you're the one who's had work done. How about it, Harley Quinn? Come with me. I have plenty of money. I will take care of you. However, Fu Beimor, who had returned at some point, was suddenly interrupted by Chen Sheng. He asked Fu Ju to go to the company for inspection with him. Ju immediately protested. But after hearing my uncle say that his dad had stopped all his credit cards, he happily followed him. After they left, Jiang Ning received a text message. Break up with my nephew immediately. But Jiang Ning was too lazy to pay attention to him. She didn't have time to argue with them. Then he looked coldly at ENGSUB, asking her where she had hidden grandma. ENGSUB sneered. Of course, she wouldn't tell him. But the next moment, her expression changed drastically, because Jiang Ning took out the photo of her being pinned to the bed by young Master Sun yesterday. She tried to grab it, but missed. Jiang Ning said if I didn't tell him where grandma was, he would send the photo to Fu Beimu. Not only would Jiangsu's position as Mrs. Fu be in jeopardy, but the entire Jiang family would be ruined. At that moment, Jiangsu was completely terrified. She had no choice but to tell Jiang Ning the location. Jiang Ning glared at her as he left. I'm leaving. I won't be back this time. Hearing this, Jiangsu was stunned. In the evening, the assistant was reporting to Fu Beimor. He said that the cooperation with Cici had not received a reply. Fu Beimor leaned wearily on the sofa and asked someone to bring him a cup of coffee. When he saw the maid coming in, he suddenly asked in a deep voice, "Where is Jiang Ning? I haven't seen him work all day. Did he resign and leave out of shame?" Poor Luo Fu beaming became thoughtful. Could he be going to be Fu Ju's exclusive maid? Thinking of this, he immediately called Jiang Ning. At this moment, Jiang Ning was sitting by her grandmother's bed, reading. When she saw who was calling, with a cold HMPH, he wouldn't go back anyway. So he simply blocked the other party. On the other side, when Fu Beimor called back, he couldn't get through. At that moment, a knock on the door sounded. The assistant said that Cici said their president was very busy. If you want to customize a cream to remove birthmarks, you have to make an appointment with his secretary. Hearing this, Fu Beimor's already gloomy face turned even uglier. He continued to dial Jiang Ning's number, but it was always out of service. At this moment, the assistant couldn't help but say, "Vice President. In this case, it's highly likely that the other party has already blocked you." Fu Beimor took out his phone. He slammed his phone on the table. His face was even more frighteningly cold. He had never been blocked by anyone before. The assistant glanced at the note on the phone. Instantly, her gossip radar went off. The president's custom-made pastry. Could it be for that little maid? And now she's blocked him. Fu Beimor saw him still standing there, oblivious. He loudly scolded him to leave. Assistant Jin ran off. He accidentally discovered a big secret of a wealthy family feud. Fu Nancheng got up and went to the French window. Now, he already stands at the peak where money defines status. Very few people can affect his mind. But that little maid, Jiang Ning, was like an accident that suddenly barged into his life. I don't know when it started, but my emotions are being swayed by her. It's good she's gone now. I can't let her affect me anymore. When Fu Beimor was getting ready for bed, he was about to call the young mistress in. But he heard the maid say that the young mistress's mother had fallen, and she had rushed home to take care of her mother. Hearing this, the man frowned as he spoke. The next day, Fu Beimor had a gloomy face all day long, so that everyone in the company was affected by that low. The pressure was stifling. I didn't dare to say a word. Since the young mistress wasn't home either, I simply went to the other villa in the afternoon. Just as I got to the door, I heard giggling coming from inside. "Ning Ning, don't run. I really have something good to show you. I'm only sharing it with you because we're good friends." Jiang Ning then ran out with a smile, leaving only a Ke. Crying, she crashed into Fu Beimor's chest. Then they both widened their eyes. "Why is it him again?"